Attorneys came to the conclusion that the $6.4 million settlement is in the best interest of protecting taxpayers.
The settlement expressly says that this does not have any bearing on whether these officers are guilty or innocent.
By settling this case, it not only brings closure for the family and for the larger community, it also removes that liability for the officers.
And Gray attorney Billy Murphy says if the civil case had been filed in federal court, it would have taken up to 3 years to settle this. What do you think about this? Kendall, you're amazed at this settlement.
In federal court for 3 years? Okay, so what? I mean, maybe it should have taken that long so we would have more facts and some sort of delineation. In a normal wrongful death case, you have evidence as to how much someone would make, how long they would live, how much their pain and suffering was, et cetera, et cetera. Here, it just seems to be a blank number, and we have no idea where the math came from.
Apparently, city attorneys reviewed depositions from the 6 officers involved, and they also read the medical examiner's autopsy report before they decided to offer the $6.4 million. So the critics say, how could this do anything but make it almost impossible for these 6 officers on your screen now to ever get a fair trial?
It has nothing to do with a fair trial. First of all, trials are expensive. The reason that it's better for the city is that if we were in federal court for 3 years, then that's taxpayers paying for that, for them to defend that. And then, again, I know it seems like I'm just Billy Murphy cheerleader today. He's great at what he does. So if we got 6.4 as the settlement, he came in asking for like 15 or 18. And I can't recall a big case that he's lost. He is a bulldog in the courtroom, and it might not have gone in the city's favor. It would have ended up costing us more.
This is really bad.
Oh, the timing is the day before the ruling on the change for venue. This is a cash for peace scam is what it is. This is to make sure that the money got out there to the Freddie Gray family and make sure a message was sent out that we don't need any more acts of violence in Baltimore City. And for Billy Murphy, he didn't have to lift a finger to get this, Catalina. All he had to do is back up the Brinks truck. I mean, there's clearly a relationship there with him and Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake. And again, this whole idea...
There's a relationship between himself and the legacy of his career as well. He would not have minded going into court arguing this case.
Oh, they got to stop
death case, don't you usually have to establish a wrongful death?
Right.
I mean, there's got to be evidence here. Nobody's interested in any of the evidence here.
The burden of proof in a civil case is less
preponderance of evidence
than there is in a criminal case. So, again, if they had the autopsy and they have the depositions, you don't know what came out in that.
But
if the threshold is lower, if the bar is lower...
You heard the hammer? Go.
No, I was just going to say, usually there's a hearing and there's cross-examination and it's in public. And we have no idea what the evidence is, and we have no idea any of the background or where this figure came from.
And there were a lot of other things in that agreement. There's a part of the agreement is that cameras will go on police almost immediately in one of the police districts. There was also an agreement by the family that if a settlement came now, they would not pursue civil litigation. So a lot, I think Stephanie, I think the mayor and Billy Murphy made great points about there's more to this than $6.4 million. They had to really think about what was in the best interest of the city.
Well, the fact is that Billy is going to get at least $3 million, maybe.
But it's not about the money. It's about justice. And I think Billy would say that, and I think the mayor would say what she did really saves, if we look further and look ahead, it really saves a lot of money for the taxpayers.
Let's look at the previous cases, though, Anthony, where there were a couple of cases. One where a poor woman who was just riding in a vehicle that was involved in a police crash and died. She wasn't dealing drugs. She didn't have a career rap sheet. You know how much money she got? $56,000. Okay, so something really stinks to high heaven when you've had other victims.
But it may have been the level of representation she had. Because Billy Murphy.
That's exactly what
All right, order on the court. Order in the court. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the other thing is what you're doing and what we're all doing, quite frankly, is projecting what would have happened. This would have happened. That would have happened. And it drives me crazy in today's 24 news cycle that that's what we do with these types of cases. The real issue is we don't know the facts. There's just a number out there. Is that fair to the citizens of Baltimore City? And the issue is we don't know any of that.
Anthony,
would you... Normally, it's more transparent.
Would you like to be mayor? I'm not asking you to jump in the race. Trust me, please. But if you were the mayor, would you like to do that? Do you think you could be the mayor? Does anyone here think they could do that job?
I certainly
I think I could do the job. I don't think I could get elected.
Yeah, I don't either. But I do believe that I could do the job. But I think people underappreciate how stressful and how much is really involved in governing.
Well, if I didn't think I could do the
And you
job,
ran. You
I was
ran
to say,
for
if I
the-
didn't think I could do the job, I wouldn't have run for it. So, yes, absolutely. And I can't say that I would have made a different decision than what Stephanie did in this case. If I have Billy Murphy who's going to come guns blazing at me, a city in uproar, and everything else happening, and I know that I have to be able to save money. And you can't save money paying for a trial that makes no sense.
But people
You end
choose
it
to
as
go
soon
into
as
public
possible.
office and public service. And
Some
I
people
applaud
choose
them.
and some people are chosen.
Or chosen, whatever, but you kind of know what comes with the territory, and you have to be ready at any time to provide leadership,
That's
and
right.
not everybody is up to the task.
And I think that's why Stephanie Rawlings Blake announced on Friday she is not running for re-election. I think she did great in the beginning, but there's a huge gap and a failure of leadership. We've all seen it work itself out
But you
in the
know
last
what?
several months, and I think she knew, let me do something for the city.
But
Let
you
me
know,
not put them
when you look at her
through that
record that she
re-election.
runs down, first of all, I never thought she was running for re-election because of Sheila's untimely removal. She's been mayor for almost the amount of time she would have been if she had been elected 2 terms. Them moving the election again and gave them a 5th year for this term. She's been the mayor for almost 8 years. There's other things that she can do, but she has a record to stand on. So just because she's not personable doesn't mean she's not a good leader. She's not. But
I
the
didn't
city's not
judge
in the
her for being
deficit that it's
personal.
in.
Oh, yeah, me
She's
I
made
didn't
tough
either.
decisions,
don't-
and so she's led through legislation.
I don't think you
and
have to
results.
be everybody's best friend to be mayor, and I don't fault her for that. But I have to tell you, more decisions than positive decisions, negative and bad choices have been made by this mayor. That's why all these people are getting, well, always, but that's why so many people are jumping in this race. They see not just the weakness of the uprising, they see decision after decision after decision
Anthony,
as weak, and
let's
that's
be
why they're
honest.
running for it.
They're running
This
for it
city-
because their egos are overinflated.
Well, they all
they
have
always
egos.
run. They always claim that they want to be the mayor of Baltimore. But how many of them sacrifice for it? Which one of the
What did
candidates will lose
Stephanie
their
sacrifice?
job? Which one of the candidates will lose their job?
Too
and have to
personal
go
in the
get a
final
real
30
job to
seconds.
run, and which one
Kendall,
won't?
please.
No, I was just going to say, I think that in any big northeastern city, there are a lot of uncontrollable factors. The fatherlessness, the drug addiction, there's many things that are not controlled by the mayor. But I think in this city, it's going to take, and these are the words of my husband right now, a dynamic personality like a William Donald Schaefer, maybe a Kwayise Mfume, to really bring people together and really get some very strong solutions.